going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jets Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, I want to go over a 2025 NFL mock draft for your New York Jets, except we have a massive, massive trade in this mock draft. But before we do so, I want to get the pulse of you guys here real quick. If you guys want more Jets mock drafts, just hit me with a me down below in the comments section. Obviously, with the draft still a couple months away, I do want to start doing more of these. So if you guys want more mock drafts on your YouTube page, just go down there, type those me's down below in the comments section. All right, let's first off start with how the Jets 2025 draft capital shakes out. So in this mock draft, we actually are going to be only going over the first 5 rounds since, these guys that you take in round 6 and 7, it just don't have a whole lot to say on them. But we will be going through the first 5 rounds, and right now the Jets have the 7th overall pick. They're the 42nd, 92nd in round 4. They have 108th overall selection. Round 5, 145, and then actually another 5th rounder from the Pittsburgh Steelers at pick 157. But the massive trade we're making on today's show is we're going all the way up. We're going to go land that number 1 overall pick from the Tennessee Titans, and the Jets would have to send their 7th overall pick and 42, and they would also have to attach a 2026 first-round pick and a 2026 fourth-round pick. I think this would be enough to get it done. Maybe you turn that 4th into a 3rd, but hey, 2 first and a 2nd and a 3rd or a 4th-round pick. I think this is enough to get it done, considering ESPN put out an interesting article saying that the Titans are very open to trading back in the first round, saying the overall feeling is the Titans will trade the top pick of the draft. The execs, coaches, and scouts who voted that way believe the Titans' lack of game-altering players and say none of the quarterbacks in this draft class can elevate the current supporting cast. So moving back with a QB-needy team for more picks could be the way to go for Tennessee. And there's no doubt the Jets are a QB-needing team after the Aaron Rodgers news. So the Jets, they got the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and I got the New York Jets drafting Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado, with the first pick in the 2025 NFL draft. Now, honestly, I'm cool with the Jets if they decide to go Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. I'm just more of a Shedeur fan than Cam Ward, and I do want to share with you guys what Mel Kiper had to say on Shedeur Sanders, saying you won't find a tougher, more resilient quarterback prospect than Sanders, who took 99 sacks over the past 2 seasons, but still put up really strong numbers. I'm always impressed watching him throw on the move, rolling either left or right. He is very accurate in those spots and has the arm to drive the ball. When his mechanics and footwork are sound, he can pick apart a defense, and while he's not necessarily a major rushing threat, he can keep the change moving with his legs when there is an opening. I love that part about Mel saying about his mechanics and footwork. When they are sound, he can pick apart a defense. And that's a big reason why I'm a massive Shedeur Sanders fan, because he has been trained since the young age that he was to just be a good pocket quarterback. And, he is also fantastic under pressure. This past season, 54.7% completion percentage, 12 touchdowns, 5 picks, but he's really good at just buying himself that extra second in the pocket to make a big-time throw down the field. And overall, I'm all in on the Jets trading up for a quarterback. I understand it's risky. I understand, you're going to take a lot of, future assets to go land that number 1 pick, but also it's the quarterback position, and nothing moves the needle more than having a franchise-altering quarterback, and I really do believe Shedeur Sanders is that. He reminds me a lot of Joe Burrow, just his composure, the cool, calm, and collective nature that he has in his personality. That is Shedeur, and also both those guys, they like to win from the pocket, and then the mobility side, people act like Shedeur's not a mobile quarterback. That's just because he doesn't pull it out all the time. But you go watch the tape on big-time plays, specifically 3rd and longs, he will use his legs very similar, and I'm not comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, but Mahomes, he saves that mobility for the playoffs in big-time spots, and Shedeur has done the same. So I am all in on the Jets going and landing Shedeur Sanders. But I also want to show you guys what Thor Nystrom had to say on Shedeur. In my opinion, Thor is the number 1 draft analyst out there. He has nailed a lot of quarterbacks over the last couple of years, and he said from an early age, Shedeur Sanders set out to become a pocket passer. His game itself shows a resolute conviction in the pursuit of this idea. Sanders is plenty mobile in the pocket, making defenders miss and scrambling out of danger, but Sanders always keeps his eyes downfield, and as long as that option is on the table, he will slam on the brakes before before the line of scrimmage to continue surveying his options. His scrambling mechanations, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that word, have an involuntary reflex that he takes joy in punishing defenders. So, whether it's Shedeur, whether it's Cam Ward, I'm all in on the Jets trading up in this year's class, but I would just prefer the Jets to go Shedeur Sanders. And also, I don't think the New York spotlight would be too big for Shedeur since his dad was Deion Sanders. He's had Tom Brady in his camp since he was a very young age. I don't think there would be any moment that would be too bright for him in the NFL. So I would do it. I understand it's risky. I understand there are other holes on this roster, but also you want to elevate the guys around you. You go get a top-notch quarterback, and I think Shedeur Sanders might quite possibly be just that. But I'll ask you guys this. Would you trade up for a QB? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you're willing to take all that future draft capital and trade up for a quarterback, let me know your thoughts down below. So with the Jets not having a pick in the second round, we actually kick it to round 3 here, where I got the Jets selecting a cornerback, Cobee Bryant. Now, I think the Jets could target corner in day 2 of the NFL draft, considering you're most likely going to lose DJ Reed in free agency. So you want to get that other guy across from Sauce Gardner, and Cobee Bryant would be a great option. And plus, the name Cobee Bryant, how could you not want to draft this guy? But at Kansas this past season, he had a solid year, playing in 12 games for the Jayhawks. Only gave up 2 touchdowns, 409 yards, and he allowed 25 completions on 46 attempts thrown his way. But for 11 PBUs, he is a ball hawk, good hands, 4 interceptions. But he's a 6-foot cornerback, and he's 170 pounds, so a little slim, but he's got these super, super long arms that, especially when he's in press coverage, he can jam a lot of these guys at the line of scrimmage. Now, a con for him, he doesn't have the top-end speed to keep up with these, really burner-esque wide receivers. So that's something he probably also can't change. So that's definitely a con for him. But also, when you turn on the tape, this guy is a willing tackler. He loves playing in the run game. He is a physical player. So he's got all the physical attributes, but he also has inconsistent technique. He gets his flips turned around, or his hips flipped a whole lot when he's covering these wide receivers, running their routes. But still, if he's there in the 3rd round at pick number 92, I think it'd be a steal for the New York Jets. But we kick it to round 4 here, pick 108. I got the Jets drafting Iowa State burner wide receiver Jalen Noel. Now, this guy is a burner. Like, when you hear this guy and you hear other guys talk about him, they're going to talk about his top-end speed, and he has just that. Like, he really reminds me of, not as skilled in terms of running the whole route tree as a Jameson Williams, but he does remind me a whole lot of him. And he kind of had his breakout year this past season for the Cyclones, just under 1,200 yards on 80 receptions. Now, you guys see the drops issue over the last 4 years. 3 drops in his freshman campaign, 7 drops his sophomore year, 5 drops his junior year, and 4 drops his senior year. So it's consistently been an issue for him, but he's 5'10". He's actually got a stockier frame than you would imagine for a burner, 196 pounds. But the biggest pro for him, no doubt, his speed. So if you want to, get a guy next to Garrett Wilson who can take the top off the defense, make his life a whole lot easier, Jalen Noel is just that. And also, considering the Jets are probably going to cut Devontae Adams, you're going to need to go target another wide receiver, but also another pro just because of his speed. He creates space. He will create separation, especially on these go balls and these deep posts that he runs. He will just run away from defenders, but his catch radius in these 50-50 balls, not his strong suit. But again, if you put him in the right scheme and give him a specific role of to just be that burner, I think he could be incredibly effective. And plus, Tanner Eggstrad, offensive coordinator for the Jets, coming from the Lions, I'm sure he wants a burner, knowing how important that is to set up other guys in this offense, because we saw what Jameson Williams did last year for the Lions, just set everything else up around him. So maybe Jalen Noel could have that same impact on the Jets next season. But we're actually going to kick it to round 5 here, and we're going to take Jets defensive tackle, or Indiana defensive tackle, CJ West. Funny enough, I was looking up CJ West because I saw he was from Chicago. I'm actually from Chicago, Illinois myself. I saw CJ West actually went to my high school, Nazareth Academy in Chicago. So shout out to CJ West. Also, Julian Love, safety of the Seattle Seahawks and quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy went to that high school as well. But this past season for Indiana, he actually started off his collegiate career playing somewhere else, and he transferred to Indiana for his senior campaign. But he had 42 tackles, 2 sacks from the interior, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. But he is just that prototypical defensive tackle who's going to take on double teams, open up these lanes for these linebackers. And plus, the Jets, they just got to get another guy next to Quinnen Williams. They've been trying to the last couple of years, and maybe CJ West. It may take some time for him to develop into a true starter in the NFL, but at bare minimum, I think it could be a good rotational guy that the Jets could have at the defensive line next to Quinnen Williams. But we're going to close it out here with our last pick in the 5th round, and we're going to have the Jets target a tight end here, Jackson Hawes. Now, I am a big fan of Tyler Warren, the Penn State tight end, and if the Jets do decide not to trade up and land a QB, I would love for them to take him at pick number 7. But if you can't, maybe you look at the 5th round, try to get one of these sleepers, as this is a very, very deep tight end draft, and he's got good size on him, 6'4", 241-pound frame, and he is more of a typical run blocking tight end, so maybe they go sign a true pass catcher in free agency, then draft Jackson, and then he's the run blocking guy. But he doesn't really separate too well, but he does have reliable hands, especially on short yardage routes, just quick low outs. He's going to catch those about 100% of the time, but he does have a very limited route tree. You will not see him run a whole lot of routes 15 plus yards. So in short areas situations, he would be a great option. But in the 5th round, I'm down taking a flyer on the tight end out of Georgia Tech. But if you guys made it to the end of today's mock draft, just hit me with a Go Jets down below in the comments section. Want to start doing a lot more of these on the channel. So yeah, again, if you guys want more of them, just give me a me down below. And also make sure you guys are subscribed here to the channel. We're closing in on 3,000 subs, so hit that subscribe button today. Lock us in. Don't miss a thing around your New York Jets. See you guys next time. Go Jets.